And you wish to speak to that?
Yes, I do.
You have the call. Thank you.
Thank you. I rise to take note of the Community Affairs References Committee's report into the worsening rental crisis. I'd like to begin by thanking all the witnesses who attended the in-person hearings and the thousands of those who sent in written submissions for this inquiry. Australia is facing a cost of living polycrisis under this Labor government. Groceries, fuel, interest rates and rents have all skyrocketed under the Albanese Labor government. As a result, the dream of home ownership is slipping away for many young Australians as they're firmly placed into the rental trap. This creates a toxic cycle. More renters means more pressure on the rental market, which means higher rents. I believe you must fix the home ownership crisis if you are to fix the rental crisis. Both require a substantive increase in supply. We have heard during the public hearings that the overwhelming view that supply was the issue. In Brisbane, Ms Caniglia from Q Shelter explained exactly how the housing market works when she said, "Housing is a system, and at the moment we don't have enough supply to meet demand. That causes not only an incredible set of repercussions for households seeking to rent in the private market, but also these other repercussions which make it difficult to deliver human services." A sentiment repeated at the Canberra hearings by REIA when they put on the public record. It is the REA's strong view that it is a shortage of housing supply that is causing this catastrophic situation for renters. But you don't need an economics degree to understand that if you have less houses than there are people, then the cost of housing will go up. Another thing this report did was comprehensively rule out rent freezes and caps as a solution to this crisis. They simply do not work and often come with unintended consequences. In their joint submission, Treasury and the Department of Social Services explored academic literature that investigates the impacts and effects of rent caps and freezes in international jurisdictions such as New York and Berlin. Treasury concluded that while controls on rental prices may deliver benefits to existing tenants through lower rental prices, achieving the policy objectives of price intervention is difficult, as it limits labour market mobility, is inequitable, imposes negative externalities, negatively affects the quality of rental stock, imposes costs on future renters, and leads to a reduction in rental supply and an increase in rental costs in the long term. What was also gleaned from this inquiry was that all Australian governments must be bold in their desire to fix these crises. Stamp duty reform must be the top of the agenda for state and territory governments. As put by the Grattan Institute during the Melbourne hearing, housing would also be better allocated if more state and territory governments swap stamp duty for a broad-based land tax. Stamp duties are amongst the most inefficient taxes available to the states and territories. They discourage people from moving to housing that better suits their needs, and sometimes they discourage people from moving to better jobs. My home state of New South Wales tried this, but sadly Labor once again decided to stymie reform of what is Australia's worst tax. This is a critical tax reform. We could lower housing prices by possibly 4% if states and territories reformed stamp duty. What we also discovered is the rent trap is preventing renters from saving enough for a deposit, further killing off the dream of home ownership for millions of young Australians. That is why the Coalition believes that we are to revitalise the culture of home ownership. Australians who are first home buyers should have the ability to access super to purchase their own home. It is, after all, their own money. It is our view in this report that to fix the rental crisis, the government must address the home ownership crisis that is trapping millions of young Australians in the rental market. We can achieve this by working urgently with state and territory governments to increase the supply of housing, including stamp duty reform. We should be bold and find alternative ways in which the first home buyers can enter the property market, such as the use of their super as a deposit and then offset of super for their mortgage. We must strongly oppose policies that seek to destroy property rights or place them in the hands of institutions or intervene in the market through measures such as rental caps or freezes. These actions will only make matters worse. Australia is a home-owning democracy, and by prioritising the opportunity for home ownership, a key measure will develop in solving the current rental crisis.